this video lecture, I'll show how you can make a web server using Raspberry Pi 3 and Python. This is the Raspberry Pi 3 which is currently running Raspbian OS. You need to put on any OS, but I have put Raspbian OS. After successfully installing Raspbian OS, you need to configure it to have a static IP if you want to access it from your laptop, as I have done, as I will do. For that you will find enough tutorials on web. So after you have installed a OS, configured its IP to be a static IP, now you can create a server, and I will show you the steps. So after you have successfully configured your Raspberry Pi, now I will access it via VNC. I have configured my IP to be 192.168.0.69. This is the IP that I have configured it to be the static IP of the Raspberry Pi. So you can see that I have successfully installed the OS and it is well visible. Now I will show how you can install Flask, which is a micro web framework based on Python. We'll be using Flask to create our web server. For that, first you need to install pip, which is the package manager for Python. So in the first step, run this command. I have already done it, so here you can see that pip is already installed and it is in the newest version. Now I will install Flask using pip. Once it is done, you can go to any folder you want, but I'll be going to the home directory, which you can go to by just doing this cd followed by a tilde. Now create a folder, name it anything you want. After you have made that folder, go to that create a file using, I'll be using gedit maybe. Make its extension .py, which stands for Python. After you have done this, you need to write simple Flask code. Just copy and paste this, for instance. Here what basically is happening, you can see that whenever I am directed to the root or the index or the main page, which is denoted by /, what I'm saying is that you return this test site running under Flask, or whatever you can write over here, that simple server created using Flask. Just save it, and whenever you run it, and if there's no error, it will be running on your localhost, that is 0.0.0.0. So once it is done, save it. Now you can run this by typing python 3, since we are using python 3, and the name of the file was test.py. I guess there's some error in this. Oh, sorry, we forgot to import the package from Flask. This one, we haven't defined what app is, what app is, so that was the error. Let's rectify it. Paste it over here. Now I can show that from the library Flask I'm importing this Flask sub library, and I'm naming this app or app, this app, this thing. Now save it. Run this. Now you can see that it is running on this port. Now if you want to run this on any device, you can simply, you need to put the IP address of the Raspberry Pi, the local IP address of the Raspberry Pi, and it will be accessible only on the devices that are currently connected to my Wi-Fi. So the IP address of my Raspberry Pi is 192.168.0.69, and you need to know that that Flask, that server was running by default on port 5000. So mention the port 5000, and voila, you can see that simple server created using Flask, it is running successfully. So this is how you can make a simple web server using Python on Raspberry Pi. Thank you.